What happens when one of Hollywood's biggest stars walks into what she believes will be a friendly interview, only to end up in the crosshairs of a host with a score to settle? Today, we're breaking down the explosive fictional confrontation that had everyone talking. Margot Robbie versus Joy Behar, in a clash no one saw coming. Before we dive into this wild story, make sure to hit that subscribe button and tell me in the comments what you think really went down. The energy in the View studio was buzzing as Margot Robbie settled into her chair. Flashing the warm, confident smile that's made her a global favorite, she was there to promote her latest film, fully expecting lighthearted questions about her craft and upcoming projects. Instead, she walked straight into a storm. Joy Behar leaned forward, her expression sharp enough to cut through the air. "So, Margot, let's talk about this new role. Some critics say you're just a pretty face who lucked out in Hollywood. What's your response?" The question landed like a slap. Margot's smile faltered for just a heartbeat before she regained her poise. "Well, Joy, I think my work speaks for itself. I've been fortunate to collaborate with incredible directors and tell meaningful stories." "Fortunate," Joy repeated, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "Right. Must be nice having doors opened for you because of your looks rather than your talent." The other host shifted uneasily. This was not the interview any of them expected. Margot's publicist, standing off camera, looked ready to intervene. "I'm sorry if there's some confusion," Margot said, keeping her voice steady. "I've worked incredibly hard. Drama school, indie films, years of auditions and rejection." Joy cut in with a dismissive wave. "Oh, spare me the rags to riches speech. We all know how this industry works. Young, blonde, Australian, it's not rocket science." "Joy, maybe we should," Whoopi attempted, but Joy shut her down instantly. "No. I think it's important to have honest conversations about privilege. Some people grind their whole lives and never get the opportunities handed to you on a silver platter." Margot's jaw tightened. "Handed to me? Do you have any idea what I went through to land my first real job? The rejections, the side gigs just to survive in LA? Boo-hoo," Joy mocked. "Tell that to the thousands of talented actresses who didn't fit the mold." The tension thickened. Even the crew exchanged uneasy glances. This had moved far beyond tough questioning into something personal. "You know what, Joy?" Margot said, her Australian accent sharpening. "I came here expecting a respectful conversation about my work. Instead, you're attacking me based on assumptions." "Assumptions?" Joy barked out a laugh. "It's called reality, sweetheart. And some of us," Margot snapped back, "have enough class to treat our guests with basic respect." The audience gasped. Joy's face flushed. "Class? You want to talk about class?" "Let me tell you something, little girl. I'm not your little girl," Margot fired back. "I'm a grown woman who's worked hard for everything she's earned. And I don't have to sit here while you tear me down for entertainment." Joy leaned back, a cold smile on her lips. "Oh, so now you're the victim. That's rich. You show up in your designer dress and perfect hair, representing everything wrong with Hollywood's beauty obsession, and you want sympathy?" "I want respect," Margot said, her voice rising. "The same respect you'd give any other guest. Respect is earned," Joy shot back. "And frankly, I'm not impressed by someone whose biggest accomplishment is looking good in a bikini." The words detonated in the room. Margot's face went pale, then flushed with fury. "How dare you reduce my career to that? I've produced films. I've taken on complex roles. I've worked with some of the most respected directors in the world, all thanks to your looks," Joy said, unmoved. Margot shot to her feet, her chair scraping loudly across the floor. "You know what? I've heard enough. This isn't journalism. This is bullying." "Hey, sit down," Joy snapped. "We're not finished." "Oh, we're definitely finished," Margot replied, her voice trembling with controlled fury. "I won't be spoken to like this by anyone, especially not someone who's supposed to be a professional." Joy's eyes narrowed into slits. "Professional? You want to see professional? I've been doing this job since before you were born, princess. I've interviewed world leaders. I've covered real stories. I've made an actual difference. What have you done besides play dress up for cameras?" That was the breaking point. "You want to know what I've done?" Margot's voice cut through the studio like a blade. I've carried myself with dignity, something you clearly know nothing about. I've used my platform to tell important stories, to produce films that matter, to create opportunities for women in this industry. Joy scoffed loudly. Oh, spare me the saint routine. You're just another Hollywood hypocrite. Hypocrite. Margot's eyes blazed. You sit here preaching women, supporting women, while tearing me apart on national television for no reason, other than your own bitter jealousy. The accusation hit Joy like a physical blow. Her jaw tightened, her face twisting with rage. Jealous of you? Don't flatter yourself, honey. I was breaking barriers when you were still playing with dolls. Now you're tearing down women who are trying to do the same thing, Margot shot back. You want to know what's wrong with this industry? Look in the mirror. You're part of the problem. Whoopi tried to step in. Ladies, maybe we should just take a breath. No, Joy snapped. I am done pretending that talentless pretty faces deserve the same respect as people who've actually earned their place. The studio fell silent. The air felt heavy, electric. Margot's publicist was waving frantically from the sidelines, but Margot wasn't listening. Talentless? Margot let out a sharp laugh. At least I don't make my living being nasty to people on live television. At least I'm creating something positive instead of tearing others down. Joy's voice rose to a near scream. I've been in this business for decades. I've paid my dues. Meanwhile, girls like you waltz in and take everything. Girls like me? Margot stepped closer to Joy's desk. You mean hard-working women who refuse to be intimidated by bitter, washed-up has-beens? The gasp from the audience rippled through the room. Joy lurched to her feet, face blazing. Washed up? Washed up? You little brat. I'll show you washed up. What are you going to do, Joy? Yell at me again? That seems to be your only talent these days. My only talent? Joy hissed. I've won awards. I've shaped conversations. I've been relevant longer than you've been alive. Relevant. Margot laughed harshly. Is this what you call relevance? Attacking guests to feed your ego. That's not relevance. That's desperation. Joy slammed her hand on the desk. Don't you dare lecture me about relevance, you little nobody. You think one good movie makes you special? One good movie? Margot's voice rose incredulously. You clearly didn't bother researching anything before ambushing me. Why would you? Facts get in the way when you've already decided to hate someone? The hosts were frozen. Security inched closer to the stage. I don't hate you, Joy growled. I just refuse to pretend you're something you're not. And I refuse to pretend you're a professional, Margot shot back. When you're clearly just a bitter old woman who can't stand seeing younger women succeed. That did it. Joy lost whatever composure she still had. Bitter old woman? Bitter old woman? You spoiled little princess. You have no idea what real work looks like. Real work? Margot fired back. You mean years of training? Acting classes. 3 jobs just to afford headshots? Hundreds of rejections before one person finally believed in me. That kind of real work? Oh, boo-hoo, Joy sneered. Poor little rich girl had to work. You don't know anything about my background, Margot said through gritted teeth. You're making assumptions based on nothing but your own prejudice, Margot snapped. Prejudice? Joy was practically screaming now. The only prejudice here is against women who actually deserve their success. And who decides who deserves what? Margot demanded. You. Based on what criteria, your personal bitterness level? Joy jabbed a trembling finger at her. I've earned the right to have opinions about this industry. Having opinions is one thing, Margot shot back. Using your platform to attack innocent people is something else. You're a bully with a microphone, nothing more. A bully? Joy choked out. I'm keeping it real. Someone has to call out fake manufactured stars. Fake. Manufactured. Margot's voice shook with anger. You know what's fake? This entire setup. You dragged me here under false pretenses just to humiliate me on live television. That's not keeping it real. That's cruelty dressed up as journalism. The audience was frozen. Even the cameramen weren't sure where to point their lenses. Cruel? Joy laughed, an unhinged, manic sound. Cruel as watching deserving people get passed over while pretty little faces like you get handed everything? Then maybe your issue is with the system. Not with me personally, Margot said, her voice deadly calm now. But that would require real journalism, instead of attacking guests for sport. Joy's face twisted into something dark and hateful. Don't you dare question my journalism credentials. You little but Margot had reached her limit. Don't you dare question my journalism credentials, you little nobody. Joy screamed, trying to regain control, but Margot cut through her words like a blade. Nobody. Margot's voice was cold enough to freeze fire. Nobody? You want to call me a nobody? Fine, let me tell you what this nobody thinks of your so-called journalism. She stepped closer. Her expression hardened. You're a washed-up comedian who reinvented herself as a daytime bully because actual comedy requires talent you clearly don't have. Silence. Absolute stunned silence. Even the crew stopped moving. Joy's mouth fell open, trembling. How dare you? She whispered. How dare I? What? Margot shot back. Tell the truth? She took another deliberate step forward. You want honesty. Here's honesty. You're everything that's wrong with media today. You don't inform. You don't uplift. You don't challenge ideas. You just tear people down for ratings. You're a parasite feeding off other people's success because you have nothing of your own left to offer.
Ow.
Joy's face drained from red to pale white. You can't talk to me like that. This is my show, your show. Margot laughed, cold and sharp. This isn't journalism. It's not even entertainment. It's just you having a public meltdown because you can't handle watching other people succeed. I've succeeded plenty. Joy shrieked. I've been successful longer than you've been alive. Have you? Margot's voice was icy now. Because from where I'm standing, all I see is someone so terrified of becoming irrelevant that she has to belittle her guests to feel important. That's not success. That's desperation. Joy was shaking with fury. You think you can come into my studio and insult me? I came here to do an interview, Margot snapped. You turned it into an attack. I'm simply defending myself against a professional bully. A bully. Joy's voice cracked. I asked the hard questions. Hard questions. Margot laughed bitterly. You haven't asked a single thing about my work, my craft, my projects, nothing even close to journalism. You've made nothing but personal attacks based on your own resentments. Whoopi finally found her voice. Maybe. Maybe we should all take a moment and calm? No, Margot said sharply, her gaze never leaving Joy. I'm done being told to calm down when I'm simply standing up for myself. I'm tired of being told to smile and take abuse just to be polite, Margot said, her voice steady but edged with exhaustion. Joy practically foamed at the mouth. There it is again, Margot cut in. More personal attacks. More assumptions. You don't know me. You don't know my story. You don't know anything about what I've fought for. But somehow, you still feel entitled to judge me. I know enough, Joy snarled. No, Margot shot back. You represent everything bitter and destructive about modern media. And you represent everything shallow and fake about Hollywood. Joy fired. At least I create something, Margot countered. Stepping forward, at least I try to bring joy into people's lives. All you do is spread negativity and hate. Joy stood up so fast, her chair nearly toppled. Joy, you want to talk about joy? She barked. I bring truth to people's lives. I don't sugarcoat reality truth. Margot's laugh was incredulous. What truth? That you're jealous of younger, more successful women? That you use your platform to bully people? That you're so insecure you have to drag others down just to feel tall? Because those are the only truths I'm seeing here. The accusation hit Joy like a slap. Her face twisted with pure rage. How dare you psychoanalyze me, you little brat? You know nothing about psychology. I know enough about basic human decency to recognize when it's missing, Margot said coolly. And enough about professionalism to know when someone's abandoned it entirely. Joy trembled with fury. Professional. I've been a professional longer than you've been breathing. And act like it, Margot snapped. Stop attacking your guests. Stop making everything about your ego. Stop being a bully and try being a journalist for once." "I am a journalist," Joy screamed, her voice cracking. "No," Margot said softly enough that the whole studio leaned in. "You're just a sad, bitter woman who peaked decades ago and can't handle that the world moved on without you." The words hit the room like a detonation. Joy's face drained of color. The studio fell completely silent. "I'm done here," Margot said, turning toward the exit. "I came here in good faith to talk about my work, and instead, I got ambushed by a professional has-been who gets her kicks from attacking successful women. Don't you walk away from me." Joy screamed, her voice breaking. "Don't you dare walk away." Margot paused at the edge of the stage. When she looked back, her voice was calm, deadly calm. "I just did." And with that, she walked off the stage without needing anyone's help. She didn't rush. She didn't hide. She walked out with her head high, leaving Joy standing there, shaking with rage. Her face twisted with humiliation. The audience sat frozen, stunned into silence. The cameras kept rolling as Joy's mouth opened and closed like she was gasping for air. Completely unprepared for a battle she had started but couldn't finish, Margot vanished backstage. Unbothered, unmistakably victorious. That was the moment, people later said. When Margot Robbie dismantled Joy Behar so completely that the entire studio went silent. "If you'd like, I can also create."